right? So, a lot of things have come out now about the Mystics and that really, really absurd, berserk show we saw on a basketball court yesterday where multiple players went after Sophie Cunningham. I think we know why. All right. I think we know why. So,
as Brittney Sykes faces widespread outrage following Sophie Cunningham's fall that appeared to be caused by gravity alone, the Indiana Fever supporters have mobilized fiercely, turning the courtroom into a battlefield. Fans shouted "Suspend her" louder than a coach debating a call, raising questions about whether it was a dirty play or just another intense drama in the WNBA Thunderdome. One thing is certain: this incident is more explosive than a halftime orange slice, and the story is unquestionably more juicy than anything fans have witnessed all season. Elbows and emotions are running high, and the situation is more heated than ever.
Yes, Sophie Cunningham got injured, okay? Injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now, all right? So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding it, man.
Sophie Cunningham's fall to the ground. Fans of the Indiana Fever swiftly transition into the Supreme Court of basketball ethics. One minute they are coolly cheering a layup, the next they are brandishing pitchforks and creating suspension petitions on Microsoft Word as if it were a school assignment. According to Indiana Twitter law, Brittney Sykes is now a wanted felon with a history of playing too aggressively and offending people. Fans are taking this as a serious courtroom drama, turning a basketball play into a full-fledged legal case. If you like it, please subscribe to our channel for more updates. The fury is intense.
It turns out that we have seen, like, Stephanie White has been talking about it. Stephanie White has talked about Sophie Cunningham, and we also have news from Chloe Peterson about how she looked at practice today, and obviously, like, it's Tuesday.
Sophie Cunningham, the WNBA's unofficial queen of chaos, mayhem, and fierce personality, was hurt. You don't just try to protect Sophie, you try to survive her. She doesn't just talk trash, she unleashes psychological warfare on the court. Sophie is the kind of player who could give your grandma a 3-wink and an elbow sink and then call you soft with a smirk. Her presence on the court is electric and intimidating, making every moment she's in the game feel like a battle.
That moment, everybody was scared in the live stream, man. I was holding my breath, my face was fixed a certain way that looked crazy. I mean, we were scared in there, okay?
Despite all of her hate speech, Sophie Cunningham is one of the league's most controversial and adored players. She's the women's basketball equivalent of Dennis Rodman, minus the trips to Vegas with Carmen Electra. She attracts fans to the arena and competes fiercely against her opponents. Let's face it, Sophie has done more to boost women's basketball than many marketing teams with multi-million-dollar budgets. But after that injury, everything changed. Her fiery presence, her fearless style, everything that made her adored and despised was abruptly put on hold, creating a void in the sport.
they are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player. Sophie Cunningham just got through by a rookie. And here we go.
Not too strong there from Olsen. Cunningham pulls that feistiness. There you go. He is fierce in the game. And I know it wasn't announced that Kate was up with plays all right before. This is a preseason game where Clark is not available.
She is a true contender, not a pretender or someone vying for an Oscar. She fell hard without any showmanship or theatrical falls, just a vicious tumble, and then the storm that was Sophie Cunningham was placed on the bench. It seemed as though the villain had left the film early, leaving us to watch the game develop slowly without her fiery presence. The loss of Sophie left a noticeable void, quieting the chaos she once brought. There were no more borderline fouls or ESPN mic'd-up moments where she was casually threatening to eat someone's soul. The court felt silent, and the league seemed noticeably calmer, almost too peaceful.
Sporters, we're going to talk about the Indiana Fever. No Kate.
Following Caitlin Clark's recent media explosion, which changed their profile from who to oh they're on ESPN3, Indiana fans have developed a need for attention. As soon as they smell drama, they excitedly approach the defensive virtuoso Brittney Sykes is known for moving like a cheat code and protecting opponents as though she's attempting to break their ATM pen. Her defense is so unrelenting that it ought to be marked with a warning label. She's swift, fierce, and takes no prisoners, whether it's a player, a game, or a possession, especially a returning player. Basketball contact is the foundation of the game, yet in Indiana, Sophie Cunningham hits the court once more during a contentious play. Fans reacted as though Brittney Sykes had stolen a puppy, canceled Christmas, and covered a deep dish pizza with ranch dressing. Calls for suspension flooded social media, and she targeted Sophie, which is illegal. She should be arrested and made to sit on the bench. This was a dramatic overreaction that was fueled by the home crowd's need for drama. Logic appears to have taken a vacation. The scene demonstrated how easily a game can devolve into mayhem when emotions are running high, particularly in an environment where passion frequently triumphs over reason.
And that's Kiki Arafin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA.
We went from defensive play to federal offense more quickly than you can say overreaction. Let's clarify. Brittney Sykes was just performing her duties when Sophie Cunningham was knocked down. It was physical, and if you have never watched a game before, you can tell that it was dirty. Was it malicious only in the eyes of Indiana fans, who seem to think that every WNBA game is actually a setup against their favorite player? Now, it's just plain funny. This is the same fan base that was yelling, "Let them play all season long," until someone played too hard. Indiana has spent months calling for women's basketball to be taken seriously and for the league to be treated like the NBA, but the moment someone plays with grit and intensity, it's suddenly considered a crime against humanity. Imagine Sophie getting body-checked by a defender who wasn't willing to give up an easy bucket simply because Twitter wanted a feel-good tale, while the fans of Soft Fever were expecting her to drop 30 points, hit a buzzer beater, and throw up a peace sign to the audience. Although she doesn't play by Indiana's predetermined rules, Brittney Sykes isn't a villain. Sometimes, playing tough is necessary for real basketball, regardless of the response.
That angle, I don't know, man. It looked like she grabbed her, slung her down. Then it looked like for 1 minute Sophie had her arm just a tad bit, so maybe she was trying to sling her off. But from this angle right here, it looked like...
And let's be honest, if Sophie had slapped Sykes during a layup contest, supporters would have printed her face on a candle and called it the holy block. ESPN would have broadcast 19 slow-motion replays, analyzing every possible scenario. When Brittney Sykes dared to contest her shot, as if launching a weather balloon into orbit, people reacted as though they had just witnessed the fall of Rome. Sykes didn't even foul her. She simply shouted freedom and sent that shot into space. However, since Sophie has become the revered figure of Fever Nation, everyone's outrage has been whipped into a melodramatic frenzy. Twitter would have celebrated the play the way they do a moon landing, but because it happened to Sophie, Indiana's self-declared Lady Liberty of the court, it's suddenly a national crisis. Everyone is behaving as though she is delicate, and pearls are being grabbed. However, let's face it, she is not composed of papier-mâché or prayers. Let's not pretend that Sophie is some delicate flower. She is the same woman who has been dishing out elbows and tough plays since 2018. The real hit was to her pride, and even though will be back in shape by game day. Sophie is built like a linebacker who once took ballet class. She will ice her shoulder, go to the gym, and probably start a feud with a referee before the next game.
Spicy Sophie Cunningham, we can call her because she was out there, she was spicy, she was fiery, and all that. But one of her
As you could expect, she drop-kicked. We're not done yet. Sophie Madare ran off with Caitlin Clark's Gatorade and insulted Indiana's whole corn supply. The drama was so intense that it could have had its own HBO series. While Brittney is presumably simply icing her knees and wondering how protecting someone became a federal violation, people began acting as though Sykes was the last boss in a video game with fire powers and a criminal record. Now, we have post-game analysis. TikToks and slow-motion edits set to heartfelt songs like Adele's are what they did to Sophie. They cry and act as though she's a saint. Let's not forget that Sophie is a fierce competitor, a heat-seeking missile with a ponytail, and she probably doesn't even want all this chaos. She's probably more irritated that she didn't receive the foul call herself. The whole situation has gotten so out of control that it's obvious that the drama is taking precedence over what should be a hard-fought, competitive game.
Brittney Sykes flinging Sophie once again. Now, I don't know if this was personal. I don't know if this was a, hey, don't talk to my rookie moment. I don't know, man. But
Sophie didn't return from her injury to be pampered like a famous person on a spa day. Instead, she came back with all the villain energy, ready to flip the script, hit a few clutch threes, and maybe intentionally or not hip check someone into the photographer's pit. However, now Indiana fans are acting as though she's made of glass and fragile dreams, wanting to swaddle her like a newborn, give her a stress ball, and ask that she pop bubble wrap just for kicks. This woman isn't just a porcelain figurine from the china cabinet. She's a full-fledged actor. Take a thrilling trip in high tops. Sophie's reputation wasn't earned by being kind. Rather, it was earned by talking trash, diving headfirst into chaos, and making defenders question their decisions. She thrives on tension and loves drama, and if you believe she wants to be protected, you haven't seen her smile while throwing elbows since 2019. She is all about the hustle, the game, and creating an impression.
Here we go. Knee key to whack her again. Guys, it's where we're at. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right there, you can see Sophie telling her after that flagrant, you don't mother effing do that. You don't mother effing do that.
In addition to playing defense, Brittney Sykes attempted to act out a WWE SmackDown finale during a basketball game. Naturally, her defenders came to her side if someone dared to raise an eyebrow, yelling, "Think of the children." People are acting as though Sykes should receive a medal for her hard work, but the fact that she was actually gently guiding a toddler across a crosswalk rather than body-checking someone in midair isn't just part of the game. It was a calculated hit wrapped in athletic tape and passed off as hustle. If Sykes truly wanted to demonstrate her intensity, she could have begun by refraining from throwing herself like a missile at someone's ribs. That's not defense, that's demolition derby.
A huge target on our backs. Obviously, the Fever, the most hyped team, the most talked about team, and now a team that has some protection within, right? Some support within, some toughness within, which bodes well for once Caitlin Clark is back on the floor, because you're now surrounding her with the talent. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston were there before, but the toughness.
The WNBA isn't a church camp, and nobody is asking for hymnals, but we're not going to act like attacking opponents with a basketball is acceptable. You can't body check and throw elbows at them like you're trying out for a linebacker position, then act shocked when someone asks you to take responsibility. She charges at opponents like it's a dodgeball death match 1 minute, then she cries foul and plays the victim. Please spare us the drama. Don't even try to defend this by saying that's just the way the game is played. There's tough, aggressive play, and then Brittney did something that was dangerously reckless and borderline dangerous. If the league keeps brushing this off, don't be shocked when the next offensive attempt leaves someone in need of immediate medical attention. If you can dish out that level of aggression, you should be ready to handle the consequences, including criticism and suspension. At this rate, we're one defensive stop away from a player ending up on a stretcher as part of the game. And Brittney, if you want to play full connector rugby, there's a league for that, and it's definitely not this one. Therefore, if the WNBA wants to continue permitting players like Sykes to throw elbows and body check like it's amateur hour at a boxing gym, they should start giving out liability waivers at the entrance.
So Sophie Cunningham has been injured. She has been injured the last couple of days, and obviously she rolled her ankle in the preseason game, and it does not look too bad.
Let's conclude. Sophie Cunningham is still that fearless girl who is possibly one foul away from appearing on the reality show Courtside Carnage. Her injury recovery was amazing and went flawlessly for her, but as soon as she returned to the court, she entered the jungle again. In the jungle, no extra points are given for sentimentality. If you're upset about Brittney Sykes' style of play, perhaps the real problem isn't her defense, but rather your irrational expectations. To the Indiana Fever fans, take a deep breath, log off, touch some grass, and don't call Adam Silver or start a GoFundMe for justice for Sophie. She's not in danger or being hunted. She was fouled, something she'll probably do to someone else before next week. But go ahead and keep the drama going because, if anything, this proves that women's basketball is here to stay. Only a fervent, devoted fan base could be this irrational over a straightforward, hard-nosed defensive play.